Let's be honest, Carter was always just the numbers guy. He never had the stomach for real business. Hi everyone. My name is Carter Wade, and that was my father's opening line at the negotiation table. To my face. It was him, my two older brothers, Mason and Grant, and 3 corporate lawyers. They laughed, sipped whiskey, and slid papers across the table like this was already done. Like I was decoration. Like I didn't co-found the company with them when I was 23. The company my late mother helped me build. The one my father took over after she passed. Minority partner, they'd called me last quarter. Now they were selling it. To an anonymous buyer. A buyer who hadn't spoken yet. They thought they were about to walk away with $72 million. They thought I was just the kid with spreadsheets and a soft heart. The one who'd roll over like always. They didn't know I'd spent the last 4 months cashing out every asset, building a shell corporation in Nevada, hiring a buyer with a name I created. They didn't know who was about to walk in. The door opened, and the buyer took a seat across from them. Me. In a custom suit. Under a different name. Smiling. My heart pounded behind my ribs, but on the outside? I smiled. Come. Chris. Unreadable. My name tag read Benjamin Ross, CEO of Ironcrest Holdings. A name I made up in my apartment at 3 a.m. months ago. Mason leaned back in his chair. Glad you could make it, Mr. Ross, he said, cocky as ever. You're about to own one hell of a company. I nodded. I believe I am. They didn't recognize me. 300,000 in facial reconstruction. 2 more in vocal work. Contact lenses. 15 pounds dropped. Nose reshaped. Beard trimmed sharp. And the man I hired to front my company for the early meetings? Not in the room today. Just me. Their little brother. The one they stole everything from. The lawyers started reviewing terms. Grant chuckled at the valuation, $40 million below what we were worth. Guess the buyers got the upper hand, he said. I leaned forward. I suppose I do. Dad cleared his throat, eyes flicking toward me. A flicker of suspicion, then gone. He poured himself another drink. They signed the pre-approval agreement. Hands were shaken. Mason raised his glass. To fresh starts. I raised mine back. To family, I said. And meant every word. The room cleared after the toast. Lawyers stepped out to finalize transfer documents. My brothers wandered toward the balcony, bragging about what they'd buy first. A yacht. A vineyard. A Denver penthouse. I stayed seated, fingers lightly resting on the leather folder in front of me, the one with the real papers. The ones they hadn't seen. Dad turned to me, finally giving me a full look. You said you're from Connecticut? Yes, I said. Greenwich. You've got Wade features, he muttered. Strong genes, I suppose, I said smoothly. He squinted like something was itching at the back of his brain. I opened the folder, casually sliding one final document across the table. Before we finalize, we'll need all previous partners to sign this indemnity release. He skimmed it, barely reading. Standard? Of course. Mason and Grant walked back in just as he signed. All 3 signatures. Ink still wet. And with that one document, they legally waived all rights to review the buyer's final identity. No lawsuits. No reversal. No second chances. I stood. Removed my contact lenses. Untied my tie. Grant blinked. Wait. Mason's smile dropped. Dad's glass slipped from his hand. Hi, Dad, I said. Miss me? The silence hit like a thunderclap. Dad stood there, frozen, the veins in his neck twitching. Mason actually took a step back. Grant's mouth hung open like he forgot how to breathe. Carter? He finally croaked. I smiled, not out of joy but the kind of smile you give someone right before you burn their house down. You sold your company, I said calmly, to the numbers guy. No, Mason snapped. This is fraud. You. It's legal, I cut in. Ironcrest Holdings exists. It's registered. And your signatures are binding. You waived identity disclosures in that last doc you signed without reading. Dad's face flushed a deep red. We'll reverse it. We'll sue. No, Dad, I said. You won't. Because the money? Already moved. Shells within shells. You're not just out of the company. You're out of the money. They all started talking at once. Rage, denial, threats. I let them yell. I picked up the contract folder, tucked it under my arm. You thought I was weak. Quiet. Replaceable. I walked to the door, turned back once more. But I was the one paying attention. And then Mason lunged at me across the table, screaming. His chair clattered to the floor as he came at me. I stepped aside. Come. Collect it. Mason slammed into the table, knocking over a glass. Security rushed in before he could swing. 2 guards pinned him back, and for the first time in his life he looked small. "Let me go," he roared. "He's a liar, he's not even." "He is," one of the lawyers interrupted, breathless, holding a tablet. I just got the identity confirmation. It's him. Carter Wade. Legally changed his name 7 months ago. Dad looked like someone had unplugged his soul. Well, silent. His empire stolen by the son he thought was too soft to fight. "You humiliated this family," he said finally, his voice shaking. "No," I said, stepping closer, lowering my voice. "You sold this family for your pride. I just took back what Mom built." Grant leaned against the wall, silent, sweating. I could see the wheels turning, too late. "You played the long game," he muttered. "I had to," I said. "You never would have seen me coming otherwise." They didn't speak again. Security escorted them out. The lawyer turned to me. "Mr. Ross, sorry, Wade, shall we file everything?" I nodded once. "File it? Today." By the end of the week, the sale was finalized. The board approved the transition. I own 92% of the company. Mason, Grant, and my father were scrubbed from every office, every memo, every login. The office I once shared with a flickering desk lamp and a cracked monitor was now a corner suite with skyline views. But revenge wasn't just about money. It was about memory. I walked through the old production floor where they used to laugh behind my back. Where they passed me over for promotions. Where my ideas were stolen, repackaged, and paraded as theirs. I didn't fire anyone loyal to them, not yet. I let them watch the power shift. Let them sit in silence as my name replaced theirs. The media started calling. Tech prodigal son reclaims empire in ruthless reverse takeover. They didn't know the half of it. Dad tried calling. "What?" Left a message. "You made your point. Come home." I deleted it. Mason sent a text. "You think you've won? This isn't over." But it was. Legally. Financially. Strategically. I just hadn't given them the emotional checkmate yet. That came next. And it started with Mom's will. They never knew I had a copy. Mom's will, the original, unedited, unburned version, stored in a safety deposit box she made me the sole access holder to the year before she passed. She knew what they were planning. She didn't trust them. And buried in those pages was the truth. She had left everything to me. Not just the shares. The patents. The estate. Even the land the company was built on. She'd signed it all over, quietly, legally, before the cancer took her voice. But Dad filed a revised version days after the funeral. Claimed Mom amended it on her deathbed. Said her final wish was to divide everything equally. He forged her signature. And now I had proof. I sent the document to my lawyer. Sent copies to the board. Sent one to a journalist friend with a subject line that just read, "Truth has a time limit." This one expired. Within 24 hours, the media exploded. Fraud. Forgery. Corporate theft. The narrative flipped. I wasn't just the son who reclaimed a company, I was the heir robbed by his own blood. And the fallout? Was delicious. But the real punishment came in. The day the story hit the news, their phones stopped ringing. Investors pulled out. Their faces, once glossy cover material for Family Empire Monthly, were now plastered on headlines reading "Sons and Father Forge Widows Will in $70 million Fraud Scheme." The board issued a statement. Iron Crest Holdings would cooperate fully with authorities. My lawyer delivered a demand: return any liquid assets or face prosecution. They tried to settle. Quietly. I refused. Let them sweat. Let them watch everything Mom built come back to her real heir. 2 weeks later, I sat in the same boardroom where they once toasted their betrayal. Only this time, I sat alone at the head of the table, overlooking the city they thought they ruled. A courier arrived. 3 letters. One from each of them. Grant's was begging. Mason's was threatening. Dad's? His was handwritten. "Carter, I underestimated you. That's my shame. I thought silence would make you weak. I forgot silence makes people listen." I folded it neatly and burned it in a glass ashtray. Then I turned to the empty chairs. This company belongs to someone with a soul now. The silence applauded.